He was a child, loved by the whole of Rome. They called him Caligula, Little Boots. His father, Germanicus, dressed him in a miniature soldier's uniform. The legionaries laughed, lifted him into the air, showing him off like a tiny mascot of the empire's future. No one imagined that this charming little boy would grow into the most terrifying emperor in the history of the ancient world.
From the very beginning, Caligula grew up in the shadow of politics and death. His father, adored by the legions, was murdered, likely poisoned. Caligula was only 7. He saw his mother's grief and then her rage directed at Emperor Tiberius. Your childhood is never normal when someone in your family dies every few months. His mother was exiled. 2 of his brothers were executed. Of his 3 sisters, only one would reach adulthood without a tragic end. Caligula learned early that violence was currency, revenge was duty, and trust was a luxury no one could afford. Growing up in Tiberius's court, he witnessed things no child should see. Men begging for life, bodies displayed on walls, executions staged during dinner, torture treated as entertainment. In Caligula's young mind, one belief took root: those who show no mercy live longer. In the year 37 of our era, when Caligula was 24, Tiberius died, and the world erupted in celebration. Young, handsome, energetic, Caligula became emperor. Rome cheered. This was supposed to be a new era, and it truly looked like one. For a moment, amnesties, banquets, games, days of freedom. Then, something inside him broke. Some claimed a severe illness changed his personality. Others whispered that Caligula had always been like this, just waiting to remove the mask. When he returned to the palace after the illness, night fell over Rome, and it never lifted again. In the first weeks, he ordered the torture and execution of those who had doubted his survival. He called them the gravediggers of hope. Executions became rituals. Torture became art. Writers of the time said Caligula enjoyed watching fear before pain, that he believed true suffering began in the mind, not the body. During feasts and gladiator shows, he would randomly point at a spectator, man or woman, and command guards to take them away. Everyone else pretended not to see. They knew. Questions meant death. Caligula saw human beings as dolls, made to break. He often stopped executions moments before death, just to watch despair flood a prisoner's face. He called the torturers back and murmured, "Do not hurry, I want him to see what he's losing." One of his favorite sights was prisoners begging for a quick death. He would smile coldly and say, "Too easy." If gladiators fought too politely, he threw down their weapons and ordered them to finish with their bare hands. "Bare fists," he said, "reveal the will to live." Humiliation was his second language. Senators were forced to kneel before him as if before a god. Wives of powerful Romans were brought to feasts, then taken to Caligula's chambers. He would return describing their abilities in detail. Sometimes he made husbands rate their own wives in front of the room. But the true terror began at night. The palace turned into a vortex of chaos. Shouting, alcohol, fear. People were afraid to look him in the eyes. Some were afraid to blink. Any word could be the last. One grim story claims Caligula forced prisoners to execute other prisoners, insisting that no one knows killing better than those condemned to die. Another legend says that when a citizen refused to fight in the arena, Caligula stripped him naked, tied him up, displayed him to the crowd all night, and in the morning threw him into a pit of wild animals, so the city could watch him fall. He did not do this for justice. He did it for emotion, for the thrill. He said, "People live too long. I merely speed up nature." This wasn't tyranny. This was a philosophy of cruelty. With time, Caligula declared himself a god. He ordered temples built in his honor, statues of other deities reshaped to bear his face. He wanted Romans to pray to him. He wore golden cloaks, masks, the ornaments of Jupiter. He walked between temples on a special bridge, like a living, breathing deity. But the loudest symbol of his madness was a horse, incitatus. The animal was given a marble stable, servants, jewelry. Caligula wanted to make him a consul, one of the highest offices in the state. For senators, it was a slap in the face. Caligula wanted to prove the horse was more worthy than they were. Public humiliation became entertainment. In the final years, paranoia consumed him. He slept in different rooms every night, locked doors, hidden guards, trusting no one, not even the soldiers sworn to protect him. He created taxes on anything he could invent, including prostitution, marriage, and food. The imperial treasury, full when he began his reign, was nearly empty. People whispered on the streets. Senators plotted in secret. The Praetorian Guard, his own protectors, had enough. January 41. Caligula returned from a theatrical performance. The palace corridors were silent, unnaturally still. On the stairs stood several Praetorian officers. At the front, Cassius Chaerea, a man Caligula had humiliated countless times. Caligula stepped between the columns. The officers moved. The first blow struck his stomach, the second his side, then a third, a fourth, a fifth. We don't know how many. Some sources say more than 30 stabs. Caligula screamed. His body shook. The palace stayed silent. When he collapsed on the marble floor, power died with him. He was only 28. He ruled for less than 4 years, but history remembers him for thousands. Today, Caligula stands as a symbol, a man destroyed by absolute power, trauma, and fear. Was he truly that monstrous, or were some stories exaggerated? Few people care. Myth is stronger than truth, and Caligula is one of the darkest myths Rome ever created. The contrast says everything: the boy in little boots and the demon wearing a crown. The lesson is simple and terrifying. The worst monsters are not the ones hiding in the dark. The worst monsters sit on thrones. Subscribe to Dark Age Tales, where history never sleeps and never dies.